a couple was joyfully celebrating their wedding, about to exchange vows to spend the rest of their lives together. Suddenly, the groom noticed someone approaching the ceremony, causing a disturbance. He rushed outside to find it was his own father. The father demanded money from his son, claiming he needed it for medicine, and revealing his hand, riddled with injection marks. The groom quickly grabbed the wedding money and gave it to his father, urging him to leave quickly. Everyone from the bride's side was watching in disbelief. After the father was pulled away, the groom felt embarrassed and awkward. His bride and her family didn't know where to look, with all the guests witnessing the humiliating scene. Time went on, and the young couple remained happily together. One day, the wife informed her husband, "I got transferred to a security unit in Seoul." That evening, they went to her family's home for dinner. Her family members were all decorated with badges and medals. Her father asked, "Jun Mo, have you been in contact with your dad lately?" Jun Mo just bowed his head and continued eating. The wife's brother mocked Jun Mo. "Your wife just got promoted to officer and transferred to Seoul, and you're stuck being a lowly investigator?" Yui Jeong, the wife, defended her husband. "Don't think your rank makes you better than anyone. If the police academy had accepted me, I would be the captain like you." Their father intervened. "I'm going to the hospital to see your mother." Back in their modest apartment, Yui Jeong comforted her husband. "My brother is always like that. Next time, I'll visit my mom in the hospital. Don't worry about what my father said about your father." One day, while apprehending pickpockets in a rural area where Jun Mo was assigned, he saw Captain Go, his colleague from Seoul, arrive by car. As they talked, Captain Go asked Jun Mo, "Do you want to transfer back to Seoul to be closer to your wife?" He then handed Jun Mo a file about a drug trafficking ring operating in Gangnam, asking him to go undercover and infiltrate the notorious gang. "If we succeed, we can also catch the Japanese suppliers," he added. However, Jun Mo refused, not wanting to become a criminal to catch criminals. "If my wife's family found out, they'd say I'm crazy, throwing away my education and not aiming for promotions," he explained. Captain Go said, "If we don't stop them, many more people across the country will end up like your father." But Jun Mo remained adamant. Jun Mo took the file back to the police station and found a man who had come all the way to this small station to see him. It turned out the man was the chief prosecutor in Seoul. He told Jun Mo, "I asked Captain Go to recommend someone suitable for this investigation, and he immediately suggested you. It seems all the high-ranking police know about what happened at your wedding. That's why, for all these years, no one has been willing to promote the son of a drug addict." Jun Mo felt a surge of pride, so he hastily left. But that night, as he lay in bed with his wife, Jun Mo couldn't help but ponder the chief prosecutor's words and the promise of a promotion he had made if Jun Mo completed the mission. He then looked at the difference in their badges, his own compared to Yui Jeong's. So, the next morning, Jun Mo decided to follow Captain Go to a secret room to meet with the chief prosecutor. Jun Mo boldly stated his terms to the chief prosecutor. "I don't need a bonus, but please promote me 2 ranks. After all, I'm the most dangerous person in this case. After this, you might get even higher promotions, too." The chief prosecutor agreed to the investigator Park Jun Mo's request and began to explain. "Our target now is the Gangnam Gang, a notorious drug trafficking organization in Gangnam that has ties with Japan. Their leader is Yong-gi Chul, and his core members are all graduates from the same high school as him. They have been like family since childhood. In an incident where Yong-gi Chul overthrew Sergeant Jang's gang to take over Gangnam, a close friend of his, Kwon Tae-ho, was killed. Now, you will become the deceased Kwon Tae-ho's fake cousin. Your name will be Won Seung-ho, and you will have to infiltrate this notorious gang." 2 years ago, in 1995, the leader of the Gangnam gang, Yong-gi Chul, was a famous DJ, often performing at clubs in Gangnam. All the gangsters who came to have fun and cause trouble in the clubs would become timid and submissive at the mere mention of this DJ's name. Therefore, Sergeant Jang deliberately approached Yong-gi Chul, trying to recruit him and his friends into his gang, promising to let Yong-gi Chul run a nightclub after a year of working for him. Hearing this lucrative offer, Yong-gi Chul agreed to join Sergeant Jang's gang. A year passed, and Yong-gi Chul had become a key manager at Sergeant Jang's clubs. That day, Young Gi-chul approached Sergeant Jang, demanding he fulfill his promise, as a year had passed. But Sergeant Jang backtracked and told Young Gi-chul to wait a little longer. Young Gi-chul then proposed a highly profitable business plan. I've worked at clubs for years, and I know there are many addicts. If we control the distribution to them, we'll make a huge fortune. Sergeant Jang, upon hearing Young Gi-chul's proposal, slapped him hard and yelled, "I'm Sergeant Jang, the boss of Gangnam. Are you trying to get yourself killed by asking me to sell drugs?" Young Gi-chul then gathered his 3 most loyal lieutenants to discuss a plan to overthrow Sergeant Jang. One of them led Young Gi-chul to a gangster named Go Dong-sub. Young Gi-chul promised to give Go Dong-sub control of 2 nightclubs in Gangnam if he helped him overthrow Sergeant Jang and rule over all of Gangnam. That morning, Sergeant Jang led all the members of his gang to a hotel to attend a union party. That evening, after all the members of the gang had retired to their rooms, all of Young Gi-chul's lieutenants were dressed and ready to fight. Kwon Tae-ho began signaling for Go Dong-sub's gang to enter the hotel, then disabled all the surveillance cameras. Yoo Jeong picked up a club, each person holding one, and confidently marched forward. They then split up and entered all the rooms to deal with the members of Sergeant Jang's gang. Caught off guard, the gang members were outnumbered and defeated. One of them triggered the fire alarm to gather the remaining members of his gang, ready to retaliate. Sergeant Jang appeared and realized that Young Gi-chul was planning a coup. Both sides charged at each other, fighting to determine who was worthy to rule Gangnam. But Sergeant Jang's gang was outnumbered and almost entirely defeated. Sergeant Jang and one of his men fled to a room and attempted to jump out the window, but they were too high up. Young Gi-chul led his men and stormed the door. Sergeant Jang rushed out to fight back, but then escaped. He ran to the party room, only to be blocked by Go Dong-sub. Turning back, he was ambushed by Young Gi-chul and Kwon Tae-ho. Sergeant Jang raised his hands in surrender and agreed to give up Gangnam to Yoo Jeong. Kwon Tae-ho captured Sergeant Jang but, mesmerized by the golden watch Sergeant Jang was wearing, snatched it off his wrist and kicked him to the ground. Sergeant Jang grabbed a pair of scissors and stabbed Kwon Tae-ho in the stomach. Young Gi-chul rushed to Kwon Tae-ho's side, only to find his best friend dead. He then went over and finished off the former boss of Gangnam's nightclubs. Young Gi-chul then met with the Busan boss and reported that Sergeant Jang had planned a rebellion. "You should go with the Chin gang in Seoul. I have photos that prove Sergeant Jang was working with Sung Kai-soo of the Chin gang," Young Gi-chul said. "I don't know where Sergeant Jang is now. He killed his family and disappeared." Young Gi-chul then said to the Busan boss, "If you let me take Sergeant Jang's place in Gangnam, I'll give you 50 million won each month." The Busan boss, hearing such a lucrative offer, readily agreed to Young Gi-chul's request. From that point on, Young Gi-chul became the boss of the gang that ruled Gangnam. Jun-mo then went on sick leave from the police station, claiming to have asthma. He then went to a restaurant owned by Young Gi-chul's gang, which Yoo Jeong also frequented for meals. Jun-mo boldly demanded of the manager, "Put me through to the owner of this restaurant. I know Young Gi-chul is the owner. Get him here now." 2 goons then approached and tried to usher Jun-mo out. Jun-mo replied, "If I stand up, you 2 will be lying down." He then quickly and decisively knocked them both down and continued to demand, "Get Young Gi-chul here." Young Gi-chul's lieutenant, received a call and told Young Gi-chul, "There's a crazy guy causing trouble at the restaurant and demanding to see you." Then, many more thugs came running to help and went inside to deal with Jun-mo. He fought each one of them, breaking things and continuing to demand a meeting with Young Gi-chul. Young Gi-chul, along with his 3 most trusted lieutenants, also arrived at the restaurant to see who this crazy guy was. The boss also sat down at the table to speak with Jun-mo. The investigator intentionally placed his hand on the table, so the boss could see the watch he was wearing. Young Gi-chul recognized it as the watch his deceased friend Tae-ho had worn, so he asked, "Who are you? How did you get this watch?" Jun-mo replied, "I'm Tae-ho's cousin. I heard he died while hanging out with you guys. Did you find out who killed my cousin? Your friend was killed. You guys are real bastards." Seeing Jun Mo's arrogance, the three lieutenants were extremely annoyed. Young Gi-chul then handed Jun Mo his office business card and said, "Come talk about T-ho." Then, he let Jun Mo leave. Jun Mo stepped outside and told Captain Go, "My acting was pretty impressive, wasn't it?" Young Gi-chul then went to see T-ho's father to ask if T-ho really had a cousin. T-ho's father said his son had a cousin named Sung-ho. They had been close since they were kids, but Sung-ho had gone fishing for a while and they lost contact. Recently, he came looking for T-ho and cried a lot when he found out. The father returned the deposit money to Young Gi-chul and said, "I haven't spent a single cent you gave me. Don't come looking for me again. Seeing you makes me miss my son and I hate you." Young Gi-chul and Young Bi then left. Earlier, Jun Mo had already visited the father to prepare him for this. The next day, Jun Mo went to Young Gi-chul's office. As he entered, a group of thugs greeted him. Young Gi-chul then spoke with Jun Mo, handing him a bag full of money and asking him to stop using T-ho's name to scam others. Jun Mo cursed the boss, calling him a lowlife, and dumped the money on the floor, making Young Gi-chul's men furious. As Jun Mo turned to leave, he was stopped by the head of security, Seo. A thug then started to attack Jun Mo. He fought back, but was kicked in the leg and fell. He continued to be beaten until a potted plant was shattered. Jun Mo got back up, invigorated, and fought back with more intensity, taking down several of the thugs. He grabbed a stick and repeatedly swung it at a goon's face. He only stopped when Young Gi-chul intervened. Jun Mo said directly to the boss, "T-ho's father gave me this watch and told me not to seek revenge. But I feel sorry for my little brother because he always thought you guys were his friends. I will find out who killed T-ho." He handed the watch to Young Gi-chul and left. That evening, two of Young Gi-chul's men spotted Jun Mo distributing flyers. The red-haired thug asked a food stall owner and learned that Jun Mo was distributing flyers looking for the suspect who killed T-ho Sergeant Jang. When he saw the two thugs leave, Jun Mo quickly threw the flyers on the ground. Hee-sung, one of Young Gi-chul's men, took a bag of money to Busan to deliver to the Busan boss. This was the monthly payment Young Gi-chul had to make to control Gangnam. The boss pulled out a bill and gave it to Hee-sung as a reward. Then, he found a thug named Han-oh, who had been a close lieutenant to Sergeant Jang. When Han-oh grabbed him by the neck, Hee-sung said, "I'm here to make a deal with you." Then, Hee-sung began bad-mouthing his boss. Young Gi-chul has been making a lot of money lately. Every month, he sends the Busan boss hundreds of millions. Now he treats everyone like trash. I've been his friend for 10 years, but he treats me like a slave. You should team up with me to take down Young Gi-chul. We'll take over Gangnam together. My girlfriend is 8 months pregnant, so I need to have bigger dreams to provide for my family. He continued, "You go get permission from the boss to gather the old Busan gang, and I'll prepare everything in Gangnam." Han-oh then put on a suit and went to beg the boss to allow his gang to take over Young Gi-chul's business. The boss said, "That Young Gi-chul guy always sends me his money on time. My sworn brother in Japan also told me not to mess with him." Han-oh promised, "If you let us take over Gangnam, we'll send you double the money that Young Gi-chul has been giving you every month." The boss began to waver, tempted by the money. Just then, Jun Mo received a text message from Young Gi-chul. He asked Jun Mo to meet him at a certain place. Hee-sung led Han-oh to the building where Young Gi-chul was holding a victory celebration party that night. Han-oh said, "My 3 groups of men will attack this building tonight." Hee-sung told Yui Jiang, "I've left weapons in the bar. When you get inside, take them and use them. They're all my close friends, so don't be too rough." Evening came, and Jun Mo went to the building. Captain Go also drove there to observe the situation. Jun Mo went inside and then went downstairs to meet Young Gi-chul. The boss said, "We're going to have a party here in memory of T-ho. Give up your revenge for T-ho. Join my gang." Jun Mo instantly blew smoke in the boss's face. At that moment, Han-oh and Hee-sung began to enter the building, then joined up with the 2 other groups of the Busan boss's men. Hee-sung opened the door for Yui Jiang to enter. Han-oh entered and said to Young Gi-chul, That's a man from Sergeant Zhang's gang, the one who killed T-Ho. The men checked the bar and found no weapons, as Hee-sung had said earlier. Han-oh then locked the building doors and lowered the security gate. He realized he'd been tricked, so he ordered his men to deal with young Gi-chul immediately. Jun-mo and Gi-chul fought back fiercely, taking down the thugs one by one. Han-oh was surprised by Jun-mo's strength. Outside, Captain Go became anxious and wanted to call the police, but decided to wait a little longer. Inside, the lights came on from above. Many men from Young Gi-chul's Gangnam gang were lying in wait. They then charged down and easily defeated all the members of the opposing gang. Jun-mo could have just sat back and watched, but because he wanted to show off in front of Young Gi-chul, he jumped in and helped take down the Busan gang leader, Han. Then, all the members of Han-oh's gang knelt on the ground, covered in wounds. Young Gi-chul ordered Han-oh to disappear forever and ordered his men to clean up the mess. Captain Go grabbed a hammer and smashed Han-oh's skull, leaving him dead, making Jun-mo feel uneasy. Yui Jiang's men were kicked out. Hee-sung shouted, "Don't even think about coming back to our territory in Gangnam, got it?" Hee-sung grinned and laughed with Young Gi-chul because all their enemies were defeated. Jun-mo walked over and asked Young Gi-chul, "Did you call me here to make me fight?" Young Gi-chul called the Busan boss and said, "Why did you let Sergeant Zhang's men come here to kill me? I've sent you so much money. I'm not sending you anything anymore." Young Gi-chul led Jun-mo outside and turned on an electronic sign with T-ho's name on it. He said, "T-ho wanted to open a business here, but now it's too late. Take your watch back. I want you to fulfill his dream in my place. I've torn Sergeant Zhang, the man who killed T-ho, into pieces." Jun-mo then made his introduction to all the members of the Gangnam gang as Sung-ho. Hee-sung stepped forward and patted Jun-mo on the shoulder, saying to the entire gang, "If anyone has any grudges against him, they've had their chance. He's the youngest member of our group now, so treat him well." Yongdi took Jun-mo aside and explained the rules of the job. "Our duty is to patrol and make sure the businesses in our area are running smoothly. If you see any troublemakers or another gang encroaching on our turf, report it immediately." Jun-mo and Yongdi then started dealing with small fights between kids in their protected area. Captain Go told Jun-mo, "If you keep doing petty stuff like this, when will we ever solve this case?" But Jun-mo was exhausted and wanted to rest for a bit. Then, he continued with Yongdi to collect protection money from the shops. Investigator Yui Jiang called Go, the police station where her husband worked, and learned that he had taken sick leave, claiming to have asthma. Then, Jun-mo received a text message from his wife asking him to meet. He told Yongdi, "I have a friend I need to meet urgently. I'll have dinner with him later." While eating with Jun-mo, investigator Yui Jiang asked her husband, "What are you doing? Who bought you that suit behind my back?" Jun-mo confessed to his wife, "I'm working undercover in a gang to catch the drug traffickers." Suddenly, Dong Chun entered with two of his men. It turned out that Young Gi-chul was an acquaintance of investigator Yui Jiang. He asked, "You've become a police officer, haven't you?" Yui Jiang said, "I work in the security division of Go, the police." Then, Yui Jiang took Jun-mo and forced him into her car for daring to associate with the police. Jun-mo explained, "We've been friends since we were kids. When my father would get high, I'd run to her house to escape. She called me today because my father was arrested by Seun, a police officer in Go, for using drugs." Young Gi-chul also let it slide and got into the car. Yui Jiang then told Jun-mo to take the wheel. While in the car, Jun-mo overheard the conversation between the two men and learned that his wife had been Young Gi-chul's first love. He then saw that Young Gi-chul was wearing a necklace identical to one his wife had kept for years, making Jun-mo even more jealous. The truth was that when Yui Jiang and Young Gi-chul were in high school, they had attended church together. At the time, Young Gi-chul had secretly admired Yui Jiang. Yui Jiang had given Young a necklace with a cross to commemorate their time together. Young Gi-chul, in turn, had expressed his feelings for Yui Jiang, the investigator. Jun-mo then visited his mother in the hospital. She said, "It's been a long time since I've seen my son-in-law, Jun-mo, visit." Yui Jiang replied that her husband was busy. She then asked her mother if she remembered their old neighbor, Yong-gi-chul. Her mother replied, "I heard he's become a gangster." Yui Jiang recalled the last time she had seen Yong-gi-chul in high school. His entire family had been taken away by the police after his mother had killed his father. As he was getting into the police car, Yong-gi-chul had turned back to look at Yui Jiang. Yong-gi-chul sent a fax to a private investigator, asking him to look into Kwon Sung-ho, who was actually Jun Mo, and confirm whether investigator Yui Jiang really worked at the Go Police Department. Jun Mo called his wife and said, "I told you that we're meeting because my dad got arrested, but I don't know if Yui Jiang will believe me." "Are you and Yong-gi-chul close?" his wife explained. "We only hung out for a short time in high school." Yui Jiang then blamed Captain Go for putting her husband in such a dangerous gang. "Yong-gi-chul knows I'm acquainted with Jun Mo. He even knows I'm a police officer." Captain Go said, "Let's see what happens next. Once Jun Mo starts something, he doesn't give up." The chief prosecutor then flirted with investigator Yui Jiang and suggested they work together on this case. The private investigator was given the personal files of Kwon Sung-ho and investigator Yui Jiang by an acquaintance who worked for the police. The investigator then accepted a bribe from the private investigator. The investigator went to a sauna to meet Yong-gi-chul. He said, "Kwon Sung-ho's father was arrested 4 times for drug use. Yui Jiang's father was a former police officer. Her mother is in the hospital being treated for cancer. She works at the Goseun Police Department. Her husband is a lowly investigator in a rural area. Here's a picture of him." Yong-gi-chul looked at the photo of Yui Jiang's husband. He then went and called Jun Mo outside for a private chat. He asked, "Do you know Yui Jiang's husband? He's a police officer. His name is Park Jun Mo." At this point, Jun Mo was ready for a fight, but then saw the picture of Captain Go in his personal file. Yong-gi-chul asked, "Who's more handsome, you or him?" Jun Mo said, "Of course, it's you." Chief Prosecutor Cho met with the police officer who had given the investigator the files and warned him, "If you keep selling internal police information and ruining my work, I'll put you in jail." Captain Go had discovered this and swapped Jun Mo's personal photo with his own. Jun Mo later told Captain Go and the chief prosecutor, "I need to find a way to get promoted within the Gangnam gang." As evening approached, Jun Mo was driving with Yang Di when he saw a car full of young men wearing masks looking suspicious. Suddenly, the car cut in front of Jun Mo's and turned onto a side street. Jun Mo immediately turned his car around to give chase. Yong-gi-chul was chilling alone in his office when someone turned off the lights. Many thugs armed with bats came in demanding to deal with Yong-gi-chul. They smashed the glass door and charged inside. Jun Mo appeared and told Yang Di to get the boss out of there. Jun Mo loudly claimed to be Yong-gi-chul and fought the numerous masked thugs. At that moment, Yong-gi-chul grabbed a gun and came out, so Jun Mo kept fighting and signaled for the thugs to run away. Then, he took the flashlight that Yui Jiang had left behind to check the situation and told Yong-gi-chul, "Yui Jiang's already run off." Jun Mo was patched up by the doctor. Hee-sung suspected that the Busan boss had been behind the attack. Yong-gi-chul said, "I'll take care of this," and asked Sung-ho to protect him from now on. Yong-bi said, "No, sir. He's only been with us a short time, and he's also close to the police." But Yong-gi-chul insisted on his decision. Yong-bi then ordered Yang Di to buy Jun Mo a phone. A while later, Jun Mo called Captain Go to tell him that he was now protecting Yong-gi-chul. Captain Go then thanked all the officers who had played the role of the thugs. The officers praised Jun Mo, saying he had only hit walls or lightly touched their bodies. Jun Mo was taken by Yong-bi to the main headquarters for food and lodging, for the sake of Yong-gi-chul's safety. Yong-bi opened the door to the room where Jun Mo would be staying, using his birthday as the code, and told Jun Mo not to be curious about the passwords to other offices. Jun Mo used the phone he had been given to call his wife and told her to contact him using that number, and to call him Sung-ho. Yong-gi-chul asked Jun Mo, "After all these years, how do you feel about seeing Yui Jiang again? She could have married a rich man and lived a comfortable life. Why did she marry a lowly police officer working in the countryside?" Then, he asked Jun Mo to go out with him. Young Gi-chul wanted to go to the hospital where Yui Jiang's mother was being treated for cancer. He invited Jun Mo to go inside and say hello, but he replied, "I'm sure she won't remember me. She didn't like me much back then." Young Gi-chul, upon hearing this, went to the hospital alone. The Busan boss went all the way to Japan to meet with Mr. Osama and asked him to take out Young Gi-chul so that he could take over the business in Gangnam. Mr. Osama said, "Mr. Kanemoto considers Young Gi-chul his son, so it's difficult to do that." But the Busan boss said, "I will take down Young Gi-chul no matter what." Young Gi-chul went into the hospital and gifted Yui Jiang's mother an expensive shawl. The maid entered and praised Jun Mo, saying he was both handsome and thoughtful. Yui Jiang's mother also asked about Young Gi-chul's mother's health. He then took Yui Jiang's mother for a walk outside. Jun Mo secretly followed to see what the boss was up to with his mother-in-law. When Yui Jiang's mother told him to stop being a gangster, he replied, "I only run nightclub entertainment businesses to create jobs for people." Then, he received a call from his sworn father, who was also the boss, Kanemoto, in Japan. He told his father to go ahead with the plan. Kanemoto then ordered his men to eliminate the Busan boss and the bodyguard who had captured Mr. Osama, holding him hostage. Luckily, Mr. Osama managed to escape the gunfire of Kanemoto's men. Young Gi-chul told his two lieutenants that his father in Japan had taken care of the Busan boss. Jun Mo went to work and saw the gang members preparing Young Gi-chul for a fishing trip. Jun Mo was curious about the boss's room. After seeing Young Gi-chul and his two closest men off on the fishing trip, Jun Mo asked the blonde man, "How often does the boss go fishing?" The blonde man said, "A few times a month," and told Jun Mo to stay at the office and watch over things while he went out for drinks. Young Bi, Hee Sung, and Young Gi-chul drove to the fishing spot in 2 cars. Yui Jiang carried some black suitcases and handed them to a man on a boat. Back at the office, Jun Mo asked one of the gang members and found out that Young Gi-chul would usually be gone for 1 or 2 days when he went fishing. Just then, the blonde man invited all the gang members out for drinks, telling Jun Mo to stay behind and watch the place. When Yui Jiang left, Jun Mo closed the door, used water to short-circuit the office's electrical system and disable all the surveillance cameras. He tried all of Young Gi-chul's birthdays and the birthdays of the key members of the gang, hoping he could unlock Young Gi-chul's room, but none of them worked. As he turned to leave, he remembered his wife's birthday and tried it one last time. He managed to open the door, but Jun Mo felt no joy. He went inside, took pictures of every corner of the room, then reported to the chief prosecutor that there was nothing special in Young Gi-chul's room. "I didn't find any fishing gear in there either. I'll have to find a way to get him to take me fishing with him." Hee Sung was using a flashlight to check the goods when he found out that the batteries were dead. Young Bi went to change the batteries and saw a police sticker on the inside. They both asked Young Gi-chul if this was the flashlight the attackers had left behind that night. Could they have been undercover cops? Why would Yui Jiang ambush the boss? Young Gi-chul was very suspicious. At that moment, Jang Kai, a thug from the Gangnam gang, was driving a motorcycle to deliver goods. He arrived at a park and gave drugs to a guy named Nin who was waiting. Then, a man in a suit and 2 bodyguards arrived and sat next to Jang Kai. Yui Jiang apprehended the delivery guy and used force to make him reveal the leader of his gang. "Why are you competing for territory with us?" she demanded. That evening, the leader, the manager, took the delivery guy to a school to meet with Young Bi. The manager punched Young Bi repeatedly in the face, then told him to get in the car to go with Yui Jiang. The delivery guy, Jangi, was left behind. As they drove, a car slammed into Yui Jiang's car from behind. The driver got out and began to yell at the girl who was behind the wheel. Suddenly, he was attacked by H. Sung, while Young Gi-chul grabbed the manager by the throat. Young Bi took care of the remaining person in the car and took back his watch. Young Gi-chul's gang left the 2 thugs behind and drove off with the manager. At that moment, Captain Go arrived and woke Jun Mo up, asking him to follow him. He took Jun Mo to see the manager, who had just been dealt with by Young Gi-chul. The manager was being tortured for daring to disrupt the Gangnam gang's business. Young Gi-chul pulled out a gun and told Jun Mo to deal with him. Having no other choice, Jun-mo picked up the gun and pointed it at the bound and gagged manager. But he couldn't pull the trigger. He fired a shot that went over the manager's head. Yong-gi-chul told Jun-mo to do it again, this time with accuracy. Jun-mo aimed and hesitated. The manager took the opportunity to escape. Captain Go took the gun from Jun-mo's hand and finished off the troublemaker. Then, the captain said to Jun-mo, "Killing people isn't easy. You need more experience." Yui Jiang let Jun-mo off the hook this time. A while later, back at the office, Young-bi said to Yong-gi-chul, "Maybe that police officer who went to high school with us is using the name Sung-ho to spy on us. Ever since we brought Sung-ho into the gang, that cop Yui Jiang has been appearing. When the boss was ambushed, he showed up just in time and handled everything perfectly, including that police flashlight. It's better to kill the wrong person than to let someone slip away, boss." Young-bi then went to see Jun-mo and asked, "Did you contact your police girlfriend to report the murder we forced you to commit?" Then, he ordered Captain Go to send Jun-mo back to patrolling duty. The police recovered the body of the manager, who had been dealt with by the Gangnam gang, from the sea. The chief prosecutor said that they would let this murder slide for now because they needed to continue investigating Yui Jiang. The two asked investigator Yui Jiang to help Jun-mo regain Yui Jiang's trust, because she was the only one who could meet with Yong-gi-chul. At this time, Yui Jiang called Yong-gi-chul and invited him out for drinks. Later, Jun-mo received a message from Yong-gi-chul, so he drove his boss to meet his wife. Yong-gi-chul got out of the car in the basement of a house. He then asked Jun-mo to wait there, but Jun-mo followed him upstairs. Up above, he saw his wife and Yong-gi-chul talking happily. Captain Go appeared and told Jun-mo that his wife had met Yong-gi-chul to convince him to believe the ledger and keep Jun-mo by his side. Jun-mo was angry that his wife was being dragged into this dangerous investigation, but Captain Go said they weren't dragging her in, but asking for the talented female detective of the police department to help solve the case. Yui Jiang was sitting talking to Yong-gi-chul and praised him. "You're getting more handsome every day." She then gave him a high school picture of Yong-gi-chul, where they used to eat together often. At that time, Ji-chul had deliberately kissed Yui Jiang on the lips, but she closed her eyes and sat still, accepting it. A moment later, they both walked out to the car. Yui Jiang asked Yong-gi-chul to be nice to Jun-mo for her, because he had suffered a lot since he was a child. While in the car, Yong-gi-chul asked Yui Jiang, "Has your husband ever visited your mother at the hospital? Because last time I went, the maid thought I was your father-in-law." Yui Jiang just remained silent, then remembering the instructions of the chief prosecutor, she told Yong-gi-chul, "Actually, my husband and I are divorced, but only a few people know about it, even my mother doesn't know." Then, while going up to the office in the elevator, Yong-gi-chul asked Jun-mo to keep the meeting with Yui Jiang secret and not let anyone else in the office know. So Jun-mo was sent back to headquarters to eat and protect Yong-gi-chul. Late that night, while sleeping, Yui Jiang received a phone call from her father informing her that her mother had just passed away. The next morning, Yong-gi-chul put on a black suit and informed Jun-mo that Yui Jiang's mother had passed away. Jun-mo drove Yong-gi-chul to the funeral home to attend Yui Jiang's mother's funeral. As they were about to enter the funeral area, Jun-mo stopped Yong-gi-chul and said, "I think you should go in alone to comfort Yui Jiang. I'll visit your mother later." Yong-gi-chul agreed and walked inside alone. Yui Jiang was surprised to see Yong-gi-chul enter, while Jun-mo stood from afar to comfort his wife. After paying their respects, Yui Jiang took Yong-gi-chul out. He gave Yui Jiang a handkerchief to wipe her tears. Yui Jiang also thanked Jun-mo for coming to offer condolences. Suddenly, a nephew recognized Jun-mo and called out, "Uncle!" From behind, Captain Go appeared, picked up the child and went inside. Yong-gi-chul remembered the picture on the personal file and realized this was Yui Jiang's husband. Later, while Yong-gi-chul was talking to Yui Jiang, Captain Go arrived in morning clothes and was introduced by Yui Jiang, "This is my husband." Yong-gi-chul showed his disdain and said, "A few days ago, I visited her at the hospital and said I loved my son-in-law more than my two sons. But she couldn't even see her son-in-law before she passed. What right do you have to come here and mourn for her?" Captain Go, also angered, shouted at Gi-chan, "Don't stick your nose into other people's business." Then, he went inside to take care of the funeral, while Jun-mo stood there watching, unable to do anything else. Young Gi-chul hugged Yui Jeong to comfort her, and then finally left. Jun-mo walked away, looked back at his wife, and had to follow Young Gi-chul back out. When the boss was in the car, Jun-mo asked to go to the bathroom for a while. He went straight to the funeral area, but was stopped by Captain Go. Jun-mo demanded to go inside to say goodbye to his mother-in-law one last time, but the chief prosecutor said, "If you go in, all our efforts will be in vain." Jun-mo's tears began to fall. Then, he performed 3 bows to bid farewell to his mother-in-law. He remembered how his mother-in-law had treated him well when he was just a regular patrol officer and constantly pushed him and Yui Jeong together when they weren't married. After the ceremony, Jun-mo left. That evening, while drinking and chatting with his boss, Young Gi-chul, Jun-mo told his boss directly, "I want to become successful. Initially, I came to work for you just to get revenge for T-ho. But I want to be successful like you. I don't want to be seen as the son of a drug addict all my life. I want to be successful in Gangnam." Gi-chul said, "I'll help you, but you have to help me get together with Yui Jeong." Jun-mo scratched his head and pulled his hair. Then, they clinked glasses and promised, "I will definitely help you." After a while, Jun-mo asked Young Gi-chul to allow him to go fishing next time. Young Gi-chul said, "That's a hobby of our top 3. You're being too hasty, but I'll consider it." Then, Jun-mo went to the rooftop, made a phone call, and left a message for his wife. "Yui Jeong, I'm sorry I couldn't visit your mother. I'm sorry I'm not talented enough to prevent this from happening. I'm sorry for everything. Yui Jeong, I love you." At this time, Kang Gon, a subordinate of the Busan boss, managed to escape back to Korea. He collected all the gold and a gun, putting them in a briefcase. Then, he took the briefcase to the Yijin gang and asked them to cooperate to defeat Young Gi-chul. He showed the leader of the gang, Kisu, the photos that Young Gi-chul had edited, showing him and Sergeant Jang together, in order to frame Sergeant Jang for betraying the Busan boss. Later, members of the Yijin gang started approaching subordinates within the Gangnam gang, trying to persuade them to join in overthrowing Young Gi-chul. One of them approached Chief Go at a sauna and tried to convince him to join forces to eliminate their boss, Young Gi-chul. Another one met a secret member of the Gangnam organization and also urged him to join and work together to eliminate Young Gi-chul. That day, at the Gangnam gang's office, Hee-sung rushed in and told Young Gi-chul, "My girlfriend is in labor. I probably won't be able to go fishing with you tomorrow." Young Bi then told his boss, "It's not good to have only 2 of us. We need at least 1 person to watch the dock. I'll call Chief Go to come along." Young Gi-chul immediately ordered Sung Ho to go with them. Young Bi disagreed with this decision, but Young Gi-chul said, "If we take Sung Ho along, we'll know if he calls the police." Young Bi went and told Jun-mo, "You'll be going fishing tomorrow, so get ready." The next evening, Jun-mo began driving his boss, Young Gi-chul, to go fishing. Chief Go and the other members stayed at the office to guard the house. Later, while sitting in the car, Young Gi-chul received a phone call from his subordinate, Dong Bi, who said, "My tire blew out, so I can't catch up to you anymore. You go ahead." Then, Young Bi saw many cars hastily overtaking his broken-down car on the road. Jun-mo, seeing these cars flashing their headlights repeatedly, signaled for the 2 cars behind him to overtake. But unexpectedly, these 2 cars blocked Jun-mo's car, and another car crashed hard from behind. Jun-mo immediately turned the wheel to escape. These cars continued to ram and attack Jun-mo's car, causing him to crash into a construction site and get stuck in a pile of sand. From the cars, a large number of thugs rushed towards them and began beating Jun-mo's car. Yui Jeong smashed the car window and attacked the 2 people inside. Young Gi-chul was about to pull out his gun when a thug held a knife to his throat. Jun-mo quickly took the gun and shot the thugs behind him to intimidate Yui Jeong. The leader of the gang, Kisu, immediately ordered, "Kill Yui Jeong." Young Gi-chul and Jun-mo rushed out of the car and fought fiercely against the mob of thugs. At this time, Chief Go was sitting in a car nearby. A thug was about to stab Young Gi-chul, but Jun Mo rushed in, blocked him, and knocked the thug unconscious. Young Gi-chul began to reload his gun and pondered which of his close subordinates had betrayed him. Jun Mo was hit hard in the back by a subordinate of the Busan boss. Young Gi-chul quickly shot the man, Gangnam. Suddenly, Chief Go started the engine of his car and rammed into the group of thugs. It turned out that Chief Go had previously refused the thug group's offer of cooperation. Chief Go quickly used his knife to take down a few more thugs and told Young Gi-chul and Jun Mo to get in the car. Jun Mo was unconscious at this point due to blood loss, but Chief Go was safe and drove them away from the scene of the fight. Jun Mo was taken to the hospital for surgery on his back injury. Afterward, Young Gi-chul called his Chinese business partner to apologize for the incident, explaining that he couldn't go to the port to pick up the goods. He ordered Chief Go to investigate all the members of the gang who knew about the fishing trip to see who had been working with the corporation. "You're the only person I can trust right now." Chief Go went to the tire repair shop to investigate whether Young B's car had actually blown a tire. He then confirmed that the tire had indeed been punctured. Chief Go went to the hospital and saw Hee Sung's girlfriend after she had given birth. Chief Go began to investigate the two other members of the gang who knew about the fishing trip, but both said they had been out drinking and playing last night. Detective Yue Jiang came to meet him and scolded the chief prosecutor for sending her husband into danger alone, almost getting him killed. When the chief prosecutor said he couldn't stop the investigation, the female detective said, "I'll continue to meet Young Gi-chul and outsmart him, as long as my husband gets out of that place safely." Jun Mo woke up and saw his boss, Young Gi-chul, by his bedside. Young Gi-chul then told Jun Mo, "This is the second time you've saved me, so now I trust you." Jun Mo, feeling like he had gained the boss's trust, boldly asked, "Were you smuggling when you went fishing in the middle of the night?" Young Gi-chul replied, "You'll find out." Just then, Chief Go entered and reported that he hadn't found out who the traitor was. But Young Gi-chul said, "I know who it is. Gather everyone at the office at 9 o'clock tonight. Tell everyone that I'm going to punish the person who sold us out to the Gangnam Corporation." Jun Mo was taken by ambulance home. He asked the blonde man about the condition of the thugs who had been shot on the enemy gang's side. The blonde man replied, "They're still alive, so don't worry." Young Gi-chul got into his car to go home and received a call from his business partner in Japan. Mr. Ozama loudly scolded Young Gi-chul for not receiving the goods as scheduled. Then, he handed the phone to the boss, Gangnam. Young Gi-chul immediately explained, "On our way to the sea, Gangnam brought his men to attack us." The boss looked out the window and saw that he was also being followed. He told Young Gi-chul, "It seems like someone is following me too. This means there is an informant in your gang who knows about our relationship." Then, the boss ordered his subordinates, "Get rid of those who are secretly following me from afar." The ambulance carrying Jun Mo stopped at a rest stop. Yang Di, who was accompanying him, felt the urge to use the restroom and got out of the vehicle. Unexpectedly, Captain Go opened the door and entered the ambulance. Jun Mo told him that Young Gi-chul was going to eliminate the traitor in the gang tonight, and they had to stop it. Young Gi-chul gathered all the members of the gang and said, "Does anyone know who the traitor in the gang is? Whoever is not here is the traitor." At this time, the thug who often accompanied the blonde guy also entered the office and said, "I'm late because I couldn't get a taxi, and the one who was bribed by the Chan Corporation is the blonde guy. He's now arranging all the money to run away." Young Gi-chul immediately called Chief Go and ordered him to bring the blonde guy here. Meanwhile, Chief Go went to the blonde guy's house to find him. Earlier, Jun Mo had told Chief Go that the blonde guy could be the traitor because he knew the situation of the Share Corporation's members. Chief Go opened the door and entered, but the blonde guy was gone. Chief Go had acted faster. The blonde guy, Okun, was brought to Chief Go's headquarters and hung upside down like a bat. Young Gi-chul told all the members of the gang, "Look closely to see what the consequences are for betraying the gang." He ordered Chief Go to deal with the blonde guy. Chief Go pulled out his knife and was about to eliminate him, but Jun Mo took a stick and beat the traitor repeatedly, mainly to rescue the blonde guy. Jun Mo then told Young Gi-chul, I think that punishment is enough. Young Gi-chul also told Okun, "Get out of my sight, or I'll kill you." Then, he called his most trusted members and John Mo into the room to talk privately. Young Gi-chul informed the four of them, "The Chinese side will arrive here in 2 days. When they get here, I'll handle them myself. Chief Go, please take care of Sung Ho for me." While Young Gi-chul was in his office, he received a call from Yui Jiang, the female detective, asking Young Chun to meet her tomorrow because she was only free tomorrow. Young Chun agreed. This phone call had been planned by Chief Go and the chief prosecutor. Young Gi-chul informed Hee-sung and Young Bi, "I have an urgent meeting tomorrow. You two handle the negotiations with the Chinese side for me." Later, Jun Mo took Chief Go aside and spoke privately with Young Gi-chul. Jun Mo said, "The blonde guy didn't follow my car and the boss's car that day. But how did he know our exact location to report it to the enemy? The only person who followed us was Young Bi." Young Gi-chul immediately asked Chief Go to investigate whether Young Bi had betrayed them. That evening, Young Gi-chul asked Young Bi to join him for drinks. While they were both drinking together, the boss said, "Tomorrow I'll send Sung Ho to pick up the guests from China. You just rest." Chief Go, disguised as a police officer, went into the hospital room of the Busan subordinate, Kang Gan, who had been shot by Young Gi-chul. Chief Go asked him, "That night, how did you know the location of Gun's car? Did your group follow his car from Seoul?" The man nodded in response. Chief Go then took off his hat and said to the gangster, "I'm Chief Go." Then, he used a pillow to kill the Busan boss's subordinate, Young Bi. He then asked Young Gi-chul, "Are you suspecting that Hee-sung and I are betraying the organization?" Young Gi-chul replied, "No," but his face still showed suspicion. Just then, he received a call from Chief Go who said, "I took care of Kang Gan in Busan. I confirmed that Hee-sung and Young Bi are clean." After the call, Young Gi-chul started drinking happily with his subordinate, Young Bi, and reminisced about their memories from high school. After a while, Young Bi discreetly asked, "Young Gi-chul, you didn't go to meet the Chinese client yourself because of your date with Detective Yui Jiang, right? Are you planning to marry her?" Young Gi-chul replied, "Why can't I marry her?" Young Bi was very surprised. At this time, Detective Yui Jiang returned home and saw her husband, John Mo, waiting for her. She hugged him, fulfilling her longing for him. While they were eating together, John Mo brought up Young Gi-chul's gang, but his wife cut him off and didn't want to talk about it. Then, they happily enjoyed their meal together. The next day, John Mo drove to the port to pick up the Chinese business clients and carried a picture of Professor Jun, an expert in the production of illegal drugs who had fled to China. Earlier, the chief prosecutor had asked John Mo to check if the Chinese client was her. John Mo held a welcome sign in his hand when a blonde woman and a man approached him and asked, "Are you Mr. Deng's man?" John Mo took the blonde woman in his car, while the man took a taxi and followed behind. She said that she was a Korean Chinese and was quite unhappy that Mr. Young Gi-chul didn't personally welcome her. After a while, the woman took off her wig and revealed her true appearance. John Mo waited for the Chinese client at the hotel and introduced himself to her. "My name is Sung Ho." Then, he received a sharp look from the Chinese subordinate. While getting into his car, Chief Go reported, "They are all Korean Chinese and they are all using fake passports, so I couldn't investigate anything." "Why didn't you follow Young Gi-chul?" John Mo said. "Your wife is meeting Young Gi-chul." John Mo was furious that his wife was being dragged into this dangerous case. Chief Go said that his wife will do whatever it takes to help him complete this case. John Mo was furious and went back to his car, colliding with a burly man from Japan, who was accompanied by Osama, a subordinate of the boss, Kenmoto. Meanwhile, Detective Yui Jiang also went to the church to meet Young Gi-chul. This was the same church where they both attended when they were in high school. While they were talking, Young Gi-chul took Yui Jiang's hand. Later, while they were having dinner at an upscale restaurant, Young Gi-chul received a call from the Chinese client. "I came all the way to Korea, and I didn't see your face." Young Gi-chul apologized and promised to meet her right away. Then, he turned back to eat with Yui Jiang. The female detective deliberately asked about Young Gi-chul's business and business partners, but he cut her off and said, Your dream has come true now, so you have to keep your promise from back then. Young Gi-chul gave Yui Jiang a hand-drawn picture that he had drawn many years ago. Back when they were teenagers, Young Gi-chul had confessed to Yui Jiang, "I want to become the owner of the most famous nightclub and entertainment complex in Gangnam. At that time, I will become a dark prince and marry you." Young Gi-chul and Jun Mo went to the hotel to meet the VIP client from China. Young Gi-chul gave Miss Lee a bag full of money to compensate for the damage caused by the previous failed delivery. The Chinese woman said, "The Japanese side has contacted my father, asking me to come to Korea to meet them. It seems that the Japanese side no longer trusts you after the previous failed plan." When she left, Young Gi-chul requested to increase the import volume from 8 to 10 kilograms. The Chinese woman took the suitcase of money and turned to leave. Later, Young Gi-chul received a call from Osama, a subordinate from Japan, and made an appointment to meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. The chief prosecutor informed Jun Mo and Chief Go that a high-ranking official named Osama had arrived in Korea and was staying at the same hotel as the group of Chinese people. They will be meeting with Young Gi-chul at this hotel. If they can eavesdrop on the conversation, they can apply for a search warrant. Immediately, Chief Go gave Jun Mo a listening device that could cover a 1-kilometer radius. Jun Mo took the listening device and left. He turned back and asked the chief prosecutor, "When will my wife stop meeting Young Gi-chul? This time, I will gather enough evidence to quickly end this case." However, a complication in the investigation of the Serious Crimes Unit began to appear. 2 subordinates of the manager, who had been shot by Chief Go, came to the police station to report their disappearance. They said, "Our boss was kidnapped by a gang last week, and his whereabouts are still unknown." Police officer Hwang Min-gu appeared and asked what happened. The 2 men said, "Last week, we caught a delivery man named Jiang Kai, who was delivering drugs. We beat him up to ask who his gang leader was. But then, the gang leaders came to ambush us and kidnapped our manager. It seems like this gang is at the Gangnam nightclub." At this time, Young Gi-chul received a call from Osama, who asked him to meet at the hotel to conduct business with the Chinese side. He was only allowed to bring 1 bodyguard. Young Gi-chul chose Jun Mo to accompany him, while his 3 trusted subordinates would wait outside the hotel. Then, while Jun Mo was driving, he was stopped by 2 police officers. Officer Hwang Min-gu took Jun Mo's car keys and asked both of them to get out and talk. The officer grabbed Jun Mo's cheek and threatened him in various ways. He asked Young Gi-chul, "I'm looking for one of your subordinates named Janky. It seems he kidnapped the drug dealer, Manager Cho." Young Gi-chul replied, "I don't know anyone named Janky." Officer Hwang Min-gu then grabbed Young Bi and Hee-sung by the neck and asked about Janky's whereabouts. When Young Gi-chul got into his car, the police officer blocked the door and said, "We will be seeing a lot of each other from now on." Then, the officer decided to follow Young Gi-chul's car to investigate. At the hotel, Chief Go's police colleagues had set up an ambush in every corner of the hotel and were monitoring all the security cameras. Young Gi-chul and Jun Mo arrived and entered the hotel. Then, Officer Hwang Min-gu also drove there. The Japanese subordinate began a thorough search of the 2 Chinese partners before allowing them to enter. Then, they began to check Young Gi-chul's body. Next, they started checking Jun Mo's body. The Japanese subordinate was meticulous, even searching Jun Mo's cigarette pack and lighter. He was about to check Jun Mo's lower body when Chief Go asked his colleague to activate the hotel fire alarm. The fire alarm sounded, and Jun Mo volunteered to check what was going on. While entering the stairwell, Jun Mo took out the listening device hidden in his shoe and informed Chief Go, "I have to throw it away." But he suddenly had an idea and decided to put it in his cigarette pack because the Japanese man had already checked there. Jun Mo turned back and was checked again by the Japanese man. He then successfully entered the negotiation room. Upon entering the room, Jun Mo and the Chinese subordinate were asked to move to another room. The Japanese subordinate deliberately turned up the music very loud, making Chief Go deaf. Jun Mo asked him to turn down the music, but he ignored him. Osama asked about the health of the Chinese girl's father and inquired about Professor Jun, because they had bought a lot of goods from her for the past 20 years. He seemed suspicious that Young Gi-chul had been followed by someone, which had led to the failure of the previous transaction at the port. He demanded that Young Gi-chul take the briefcase downstairs and stand there for 5 minutes, as if he was waiting to receive drugs. Then I'll stand here and watch to see if there are any cops following you. That's an order from Mr. Kanemotaro. Young Gi-chul reluctantly took the briefcase and left, signaling to Junmo to go downstairs with him. Young Gi-chul and Junmo walked out of the hotel and were watched from above by Chief Go's team of investigators, Officer Hwang Min-gu, and his 3 subordinates. The Japanese man, Ozama, began to negotiate with the Chinese woman, Miss Lee, privately. I want to call Young Gi-chul downstairs for a direct deal with you. Then, he connected the call so that the boss, Kanmoto, could negotiate with Miss Lee directly. The boss said, "Do you know why I use Young Gi-chul as an intermediary and help him get rich? Because I'm a notorious big shot in Japan, so I don't want to be involved in crime. That's why I use Young Gi-chul as a pawn. If the Japanese police smell something, they'll think it's a Korean gang leading the smuggling ring from China to Japan. But now, I want to use a different pawn, someone less valuable than Young Gi-chul. I want you to produce a similar quality batch and deliver it to the new recipient. I will pay you an extra 15% on top of the money Young Gi-chul paid you." Downstairs, Young Gi-chul saw that his waiting time was up and went into the hotel. Officer Hwang Min-gu led his team into the hotel and stopped Young Gi-chul's subordinates from entering. Junmo was guarding outside and saw Officer Hwang Min-gu approaching. He informed Young Gi-chul that the police were coming. Junmo stopped the officer to buy time for those inside to escape. When Young Gi-chul and the 2 Chinese people left, the officer fought with Junmo. They grappled with each other, neither willing to give in. Chief Go asked his 2 colleagues to catch the big guy. When Junmo ran away, Hwang Min-gu threw his police badge and chased after him. His 2 colleagues told Chief Go, "He's a police officer," making the chief very surprised. Junmo ran downstairs and was guided by the Chinese man on how to escape. He then safely reunited with Young Gi-chul. Miss Lee saw the wound on Junmo's back and ordered her subordinate to bandage it. Miss Lee told Young Gi-chul, "The Japanese side has offered to use a different Korean intermediary and will pay me an extra 15% on top of the money you gave me. Honestly, I don't want to deal with a new person either." Miss Lee came over, looked at Junmo, and seemed very interested in his appearance. Then, she called Ozama in Japan and informed him, "I'll think about it for a few more days and give you my answer." Miss Lee asked Young Gi-chul to let Junmo be her guide to take her sightseeing in Korea. After that, Ozama called Young Gi-chul and requested to speak to Miss Lee. He informed her, "Mr. Kanemoto has ordered the cancellation of this deal because Young Gi-chul has clashed with the police. When things settle down, he will reopen the deal. I hope you will make a wise decision." Chief Go, hearing this, was furious because he couldn't crack the case this time. Miss Lee told Junmo, "Attacking the police and obstructing justice could land you in jail. But if things go smoothly, I want you to be my guide." At this time, Officer Hwang Min-gu, carrying a hammer on his shoulder, arrived at the office with his colleague to find Young Gi-chul. He knocked out the 2 guards and entered. Then, he used the hammer to smash the door and enter the office. He continued to use his police authority to assault the manager there. Then, the police officer with him pulled out a gun to subdue all the staff. Hwang Min-gu grabbed the manager by the hair and demanded to call Young Gi-chul back immediately. He punched the manager repeatedly until he collapsed. Then, he took off his shirt to attack the remaining staff. Dong-bi informed Young Gi-chul, "That crazy cop has wrecked our office." Hee-sung ordered Chief Go to temporarily close all of their shops. Junmo then said, "I'll turn myself in. I caused this, so I'll try to fix it." Young Gi-chul ran after him to stop him, but Junmo said, "I'll handle everything so that the company won't have any problems. But if I can settle this, I want to participate in the transaction between China and Japan." Junmo went to the police station to turn himself in and was handcuffed. Officer Hwang Min-gu threatened to throw him in jail for assaulting a police officer, but Junmo just laughed scornfully, making the officer furious. He was about to hit Junmo, but the other officers stopped him. Officer Hwang Min-gu continued to question Jun Mo. Who were those people who appeared at the hotel with Young Gi-chul? But Jun Mo remained calm and said he didn't know anything. When he heard Jun Mo say that he was acting like a thug, the officer kicked him and punched him repeatedly in the face, despite the other officer trying to stop him. But the officer continued to beat him like a wild beast, making Jun Mo bruised and battered. However, he still had a smile on his face. Then, after one of his eyes was busted, the rogue officer continued to interrogate Jun Mo about the people who had appeared at the hotel. He was about to swing his fist again when the chief prosecutor and several police bosses entered. Then, the rogue officer and his bosses bowed their heads to apologize to the chief prosecutor. He threatened to report the police there for assaulting others. All the bosses bowed down and begged the chief prosecutor to forgive their officer. Officer Hwang Min-gu also begged the chief prosecutor to forgive him, while Jun Mo sat calmly, puffing away. After that, he was released and picked up by Department Head Go. Jun Mo said to Department Head Go, "Luckily, the chief prosecutor showed up when I was being beaten by that cop, so they asked me to sign a pledge not to sue for assault and released me." Department Head Go said to Jun Mo, "I don't understand why Young Gi-chul let you participate in the transaction with the Chinese and Japanese sides instead of me." Jun Mo immediately replied, "Actually, we both deserve to do that task. I think you're even more qualified than Young Bi and Hee Sung. Now, all you need to do is find a way to get rid of some people, and you're in." When he returned to meet with Young Gi-chul and his gang members, Young Bi questioned Jun Mo, "How come the chief prosecutor happened to show up and save him at that exact moment? Could it be that the policewoman called for help? There's no way someone who beat up a cop would be released so easily." Young Gi-chul immediately cut him off. "You're always suspicious of others, aren't you? Drink up. Don't think about it anymore. But why are there so many loopholes in the way Go arranged this win? Didn't you do your job?" Young Bi heard this and went inside to rearrange the pile of files and documents. Young Gi-chul said to Jun Mo, "The Chinese woman seems to like you. The two of you go meet Miss Lee to ask her to resume the transaction." Hee Sung spoke up, objecting because he thought Jun Mo was too new to handle this task. Then, standing alone on the rooftop, Young Gi-chul remembered how he had been disrespected by Osama from the Japanese side and felt resentful. The chief prosecutor said to Jun Mo and Captain Yui Jiang, "We're close to the finish line because now we know what the Japanese and Chinese sides are doing with Young Gi-chul. We just need to catch them red-handed at the transaction site, and that's it. We must make them resume the transaction." Jun Mo said, "I'll go talk to the Chinese girl, but everyone find a way to get rid of Young Bi for me. He's the one who suspects me the most and will cause me a lot of trouble." In the evening, the Chinese subordinate came to the rock cafe that Young Gi-chul had just opened. He went inside to find a spiky-haired blonde. He then pulled out a wad of money from his pocket as a secret symbol to request goods from the blonde. After knowing what he wanted, the spiky-haired blonde led the Chinese man to the toilet. He went into a bathroom stall, then came out and received the money from the Chinese subordinate. He then went into the bathroom stall and saw the blonde had left a small box in the toilet tank. Jun Mo called Miss Lee to set up a meeting. Then, the subordinate drove his boss to meet Jun Mo. He searched Jun Mo's car to see if he had any dangerous weapons hidden, then allowed his boss to get into Jun Mo's car. Miss Lee asked Jun Mo to drive her to a Japanese restaurant. When they both sat down to have tea, Miss Lee looked at Jun Mo with fascination and asked, "Why are you so loyal to Young Gi-chul that you'd risk your life for him?" Jun Mo said, "I admire and appreciate him. I'm the kind of person who follows the dictates of my heart." Miss Lee heard this and felt that Jun Mo was a good match for her Go. She then boldly asked Miss Lee to resume the transaction with Young Gi-chul. Miss Lee called her subordinate to enter. He then gave her the box he had bought at the Rock Cafe the previous night. Miss Lee said, "People working in the entertainment industry showed me where to buy this powder. If you put it in water and it bubbles up, it's real and pure. This is the top-grade product produced by us in China. This means that Young Gi-chul has been hiding the goods that were supposed to be exported to Japan to be sold to Koreans. So I can't continue to do business with someone I can't trust." Junmo apologized and asked Miss Lee to trust and cooperate with him. This time, I will replace Director Jung Gi-chul to transport the goods directly to Japan. As long as I bring back the money for him, there's no reason for him to refuse. As Miss Lee was leaving, Junmo grabbed her hand and said, "If you work with me, you'll have more time to spend with me." But Miss Lee ignored him and left. Junmo angrily informed department head Go. The bastard Jung Gi-chul stole the goods intended for export to Japan. The Chinese have discovered this, so this deal might fail. They said that the goods can be bought at the Rock Cafe. Now, we have to set a trap to eliminate Young-bi and stop this buying and selling to appease the Chinese. Young-bi went to see the private detective, then handed him a wad of money and said, "My gang has a new member named Kwon Sung-ho. He said he went to the same school as Detective Yui Jeong when they were young, so I just want to know if she actually lived in Guz when she was little. I'll pay you triple if you confirm this for me." At this time, Jung Gi-chul drove his biological mother to the church near his childhood home to ask her to do something. Then he received a call from the private detective who informed him, "Young-bi came to see me to ask me to do a few things, but I didn't say anything about the notebook you asked me to investigate." That night, Young-bi went to the Rock Cafe to work when he was stopped by 2 police officers who took him to the station for tea. The police said, "Someone tipped us off that you can buy pure powder at the Rock Cafe, which you own." The police even presented the box they had bought from the Rock Cafe, but Young-bi said he didn't know anything. At this time, many police officers raided the Rock Cafe to search the place, then arrested the spiky-haired blonde and found many bags of powder falling from his body. The police searched the rooms inside and found a famous singer hugging a showgirl in the toilet. The police took the spiky-haired blonde to the station and deliberately made him walk past Young-bi so that the blonde would think Young-bi had reported him to the police. The singer angrily asked, "Who the hell ratted me out?" The police officer said, "It was your old schoolmate, the Rock Cafe owner, Young-bi." Then, the police intentionally released Young-bi. When he returned to the office, the boss suspected Young-bi had told the police, so they had come to the Rock Cafe to search. But Young-bi said, "I didn't tell the police anything." Then, the singer ran in, grabbed Young-bi's neck and repeatedly asked, "Why did you tell the police that I was using drugs to ruin my life?" Young-bi kept explaining, "I didn't do that." Jung Gi-chul immediately told everyone to leave so he could talk to Young-bi privately. Young-bi said to his boss, tears welling up in his eyes, "It was fine when Sung-ho was released by the police, but everyone suspects me. I didn't tell the police anything. You know, I've never lied to anyone." Jung Gi-chul pulled out a notebook and said, "This is the second notebook from the Rock Cafe that you manage. Do you think I don't know you've been secretly selling my stuff behind my back? Gather all the money you have and leave the country. Get out of sight of the cops. You can do anything you want, but don't lie." Young-bi's eyes welled up with tears and he said, "After all these 20 years, you're going to throw me away. Right now, I'm the one you need by your side. You've lost your mind because of that Detective Yui Jeong. You've been favoring Sung-ho just because he knows that female detective. Strange things keep happening, but you don't suspect him at all." Young-bi returned the gold watch and said, tears in his eyes, "One day you'll realize you were blind. I guarantee it." When Young-bi left, Jung Gi-chul felt angry and devastated. As Young-bi stepped out, department head Go told Junmo, "Go inside and take care of the boss. I'll follow to deal with Young-bi." Junmo went inside and told Jung Gi-chul not to be sad and disheartened, saying, "We have to revive the business we're doing." Meanwhile, Young-bi entered the elevator to leave when department head Go blocked the door and entered the elevator with him. When he heard department head Go ask him to take the stairs to lose weight, Young-bi stomped on department head Go's foot. Then they started fighting. Department head Go was more powerful, smashing Young-bi's head against the glass and knocking him to the ground. Then, department head Go controlled one of Young-bi's arms and broke it. He picked up a shard of glass, gave Young-bi a long scar on his face, and warned him never to set foot in this area again. The next day, Jung Gi-chul asked Yui Jeong to come to the church. He asked her to enter the church alone. When Yui Jeong went inside, she saw people holding a prayer service for her deceased mother, making her very emotional. Young Gi-chul had asked his mother to hold this prayer service for Yui Jiang's mother. After the prayer service, Young Gi-chul stood outside listening to the conversation between Yui Jiang, her mother, and the neighbors. When he heard one neighbor say, "You look exactly the same as when you were in elementary school," Young Gi-chul started to have doubts. He immediately called the private detective and asked him to investigate the information that Young Bi had requested earlier. He wanted to confirm whether Detective Yui Jiang had actually lived in Gwangju as a child, because she seemed to have been in Seoul from a young age. When Yui Jiang stepped out of the church, she thanked Young Gi-chul for organizing the prayer service for her mother. Then, the two went to a cafe. Young Gi-chul said, "Let's stay here for another hour. I just want to silently admire you for an hour." Meanwhile, the chief prosecutor informed Jun Mo that Department Head Go was following Young Gi-chul and found him at the cafe with Jun Mo's wife. At the same time, the chief prosecutor received a call from Gangnam police, informing him that the private detective had asked them to check whether former detective Do Deok-hoon, Yui Jiang's father, had ever worked at the Gwangju Police Department. The private detective was going to the Retired Police Association to continue his investigation. When he heard this information, Jun Mo realized that Young Gi-chul was holding his wife hostage, so he immediately ran to find the private detective. When he arrived at the Retired Police Association, the private detective had gathered information showing that Yui Jiang's father had never left Seoul to work. He held the files and was about to call Young Gi-chul when Jun Mo appeared, saying that Director Young had sent him to get the files. Seeing the private detective try to hide the files, Jun Mo invited him to the rooftop to talk privately. In the heavy rain, they stood talking. As the private detective was about to call Young Gi-chul, Jun Mo stopped him and demanded the files. However, the private detective resisted and tried to escape, but the door was locked. He asked Jun Mo, "Why is the police pretending to be gangsters?" Officer Park Jun Mo. Jun Mo, former detective Do Deok-hoon's son-in-law, warned the private detective, "If you continue to be a gangster's lackey, you'll be in jail for a long time. Cooperate with the police." The private detective shoved Jun Mo and ran, but his foot got caught on an electrical wire, causing him to fall. When he tried to climb up to escape, he attempted to jump over to another building, but unfortunately, his foot got tangled in the wire and he fell to the ground. Jun Mo quickly ran down and saw that the private detective was lying motionless. He took the files and found his own real profile inside. Meanwhile, at the cafe, Yui Jiang looked at her watch and realized that an hour had passed, so she said goodbye to Young Gi-chul and left. Young Gi-chul called the private detective, but Jun Mo had confiscated his phone and didn't answer Young Gi-chul's call. After grabbing the files and leaving, Jun Mo got in the car, but the private detective's phone kept ringing. On the other side, Young Gi-chul kept calling but couldn't reach the detective. The chief prosecutor told Jun Mo that he had checked the call history and found that the detective hadn't called Young Gi-chul before he fell to the ground. Still, Jun Mo was nervous because he felt that he and his wife were nearly killed. The chief prosecutor praised Jun Mo, saying that if he had arrived a minute later, Young Gi-chul would have learned the truth, and the investigation would have ended. When he went to the detective's office, Jun Mo was informed that he had fallen from a high floor and died. Jun Mo later met with Young Gi-chul and eagerly discussed the plan to meet Miss Lee the next day, with the goal of persuading the Chinese side to resume the transaction. However, Young Gi-chul began to suspect Jun Mo. The chief prosecutor told Yui Jiang that Jun Mo witnessing the private detective's death might have been a shock to him, and advised her to keep in touch to help her husband stabilize mentally. Yui Jiang loudly argued with the chief prosecutor for leaving her husband alone in a dangerous situation without any support. The chief prosecutor replied that being a spy couldn't involve the whole team. Deciding to call Young Gi-chul, Yui Jiang asked him to meet the next day, and Young Gi-chul agreed, realizing that Yui Jiang seemed to have a lot to say. The female detective took a gun from her drawer, while Young Gi-chul remembered Young Bi's warning. He called his subordinate, Yang Di, and asked him to come to the office the next day. The next day, Miss Lee arrived at the office to date Jun Mo, while Yui Jiang went to see Young Gi-chul. Jun Mo was surprised to see his wife appear, but still said goodbye to take Miss Lee out. When they entered the elevator, Yui Jiang asked about the girl with Jun Mo, and Young Gi-chul explained that she was a business partner, and she likes Sung Ho. Then, Young Gi-chul led Yui Jiang into his office to take a tour. While they were sitting and talking, Yang Di appeared, and Young Gi-chul took him into a private room to give him a secret assignment. After Yang Di left, Young Gi-chul took out a necklace and a pistol. Outside, Yui Jiang had also prepared a gun in her purse. Young Gi-chul returned, seeming cheerful as he chatted with Yui Jiang and suggested that she go with him to a place. Meanwhile, Jun Mo took Miss Lee to a poor neighborhood in Seoul to play a game of pulling candy. Young Gi-chul led Yui Jiang to a beach and introduced it as a place that would become a complex called Free International City in the future. He said there would be a successful businessman named Young Gi-chul, and next to him would be Yui Jiang. After listening, Yui Jiang tried to change the subject. After receiving a call from Jun Mo, Yui Jiang decided not to answer and continued her conversation with Young Gi-chul. On the other side, Miss Lee noticed that Jun Mo wasn't focused while playing with her, so she was quite disappointed. Jun Mo then put his phone away. At this time, Yang Di arrived at the scene where the private detective had died to investigate, as instructed by Young Gi-chul. While driving with Yui Jiang, Young Gi-chul received a call from Yang Di. He stopped the car to listen, and Yang Di reported that the police said the detective fell from a high floor due to carelessness and had no phone on him, just a wallet. He also planned to continue the investigation at the Retired Police Association. Young Gi-chul then outlined a new plan for Yang Di to carry out. Meanwhile, while walking along the beach with Yui Jiang, Young Gi-chul suddenly took her hand and asked, "You never lived in WZU, did you?" Yui Jiang admitted this, but explained that her father used to work there, so she often went back and forth between Seoul and WZU. When Young Gi-chul asked further about Sung Ho, saying that she had lived near his house as a child, Yui Jiang replied that she had moved to Seoul when she was in elementary school. The conversation was interrupted when Yang Di called back to report that he had obtained the files that the private detective was holding. When he heard the career history of former detective Do Deok-hun, Young Gi-chul touched the gun in his pocket. He asked Yui Jiang to turn her back, making her wary and prepared to take out the gun in her purse. However, she realized that Young Gi-chul was just putting on a necklace that he had promised to give her in high school. Emotionally overwhelmed, Yui Jiang was touched and lowered her gun. Meanwhile, Yang Di, remembering the moment he had a crush on the clerk at the police association, decided to go back and find her. When he went inside, he saw Department Head Go thanking the clerk for helping him switch files. Department Head Go left when Yang Di entered. He gave the clerk a bouquet of flowers, but he didn't know that Department Head Go and Hee-sung were watching from outside the hotel. They continued to follow the two Japanese partners who had just gotten into a taxi. In another development, police officer Jo Han-mino went to the scene where the private detective died to investigate and picked up a lighter. Meanwhile, Miss Lee led Jun Mo to a luxurious restaurant for a meal. She shared with Jun Mo that the woman Director Jung was with that morning was definitely his girlfriend because they looked at each other with affection. Miss Lee then asked for the price to be doubled for each kg of goods, from 30 million to 60 million, and the amount of each transaction increased to 16 kilograms. Jun Mo hesitated because the price and quantity of the goods were too high, but Miss Lee asked him to make his own decision without consulting director Young Gi-chul, saying that she liked him and wanted to hear the decision from him directly. While driving Yui Jiang home, the female detective frankly asked, "It seems you're suspecting me because I'm a police officer, right?" Young Gi-chul reassured her and replied, "Didn't you already know everything I'm doing? To be honest, I really wanted to see you again before, but since I saw you again, so many things have happened. You even know Sung Ho." Yui Jiang explained, "I know Sung Ho because his father is an addict. I was also surprised to see him again. Maybe fate brought us together. After seeing you again by chance, I checked to see if you had a criminal record. I know Sung Ho's cousin, T-ho, was killed by Sergeant Jang, and Sergeant Jang is also missing." Young Gi-chul angrily asked, "So you suspected me of killing Sergeant Jang, and that's why you approached me?" Yui Jiang calmly explained, "I know you didn't do it. Even if you had done it, I wouldn't care because I believe you. I will be by your side until your dream comes true, because I love you." Overwhelmed with emotion, Jung Gi-chul embraced Yui Jiang passionately, and the female detective responded with a passionate kiss. Meanwhile, Department Head Go and Hee-sung, after following the two Japanese partners, noticed that they were collaborating with the rival Chan Corporation. Go immediately called to report to Jung Gi-chul, and the boss told them to return to the office. Jung Gi-chul then told Yui Jiang, "I'll introduce you to all the employees at the company at the restaurant." In another development, after much thought, Junmo finally agreed to Miss Lee's request to increase the price and amount of goods. Miss Lee instructed her subordinate to report to her father that they would cooperate with Jung Gi-chul, and the intermediary this time would be Sung Ho. At the drug production facility, Professor Jun and many workers were working hard to manufacture the purest drug. Miss Lee's father received a notification about his daughter's decision, but the Chinese boss warned, "I don't want to work with Jung Gi-chul anymore, and stay away from him tonight at all costs." After returning to the office, Jung Gi-chul introduced Yui Jiang to all his gang members, announcing that she was his future wife. Hee-sung was surprised to hear this. When Jung Gi-chul took Yui Jiang to tour the office, Hee-sung asked to speak privately. He expressed concern, "Boss, you brought a police officer to the office and introduced her as your fiancée. What if she takes advantage of you? Just thinking about the police makes my skin crawl." Jung Gi-chul resolutely said, "Don't worry, don't you trust me?" Department Head Go then asked Yui Jiang about the Japanese partners collaborating with the Chan Corporation. Jung Gi-chul calmly replied, "Let's see how Sung Ho negotiates with ML anyway. The Japanese side can't do anything if the Chinese don't supply the goods." Hee-sung continued to be upset because he felt Jung Gi-chul was giving everything to Sung Ho while he was out dating Yui Jiang. However, Jung Gi-chul remained firm, "Trust my decisions." Later, Jung Gi-chul sat down to drink wine with Detective Yui Jiang. He confessed that he had changed his mind since meeting her. She said she would help and protect him. She also said she loved him, and it was all genuine. At the restaurant, after discussing business, Miss Lee praised Junmo. "You're brave and handsome. Do you want to sleep with me? Not interested. Then the deal's off." Junmo was very confused when he heard this. Immediately after, Miss Lee dragged Junmo to a private room and kissed him repeatedly. Junmo responded, but images of his wedding and his detective wife kept flashing before his eyes. The desk phone rang, but Miss Lee wouldn't let Junmo answer it. As the two were about to cross the line with each other, her subordinate suddenly opened the door. Then, he informed his boss, "The old man has decided to choose the CH Corporation as the new transporter. Tonight, Yui Jiang will handle Jung Gi-chul." Junmo asked, "What's going on?" Miss Lee replied, "Nothing. Is Director Deng still doing well?" At this time, the head of the Share Corporation was drinking with Ozawa, waiting for his subordinate to handle Jung Gi-chul. Then, many Share Corporation gangsters with weapons in hand entered the Gangnam gang's office. Junmo tried to call Jung Gi-chul, but he was busy flirting with Yui Jiang. Junmo called Department Head Go to inform him that the CH Corporation was coming, but the gangsters had already burst through the door. High-S Letter 1 EBNG ordered his subordinates to get ready for a fight. Gai Chun heard the commotion and went outside. Hee-sung told him, "War's about to break out." Gai Chun pulled Yui Jiang into a room and said, "No matter what you see, you have to understand and trust me." He picked up a gun, ready to take Yui Jiang outside. Outside, the two sides began fighting. Jung Gi-chul took a gun and took out a few gangsters from the rival gang, then took Yui Jiang's hand. Junmo also arrived at that moment and rushed in to help the Gangnam gang deal with the gangsters who were attacking. He then stood and looked at his wife, then picked up a weapon to fight. One gangster grabbed Yui Jiang's neck and pulled her into a room, but Jung Gi-chul dealt with him quickly. Another gangster tried to stab Yui Jiang, but Gai Chun stopped him. Yui Jiang looked through the glass window and saw her husband acting crazy and bloodthirsty. She was shocked. Gai Chun reassured her, thinking she was scared. Suddenly, Miss Lee and her Chinese subordinate entered the office and asked Junmo, "Why are you risking your life to do this?" Junmo looked at Letter 1A1 Chu and Gai Chun and said, "There is someone I want to protect and shield." and Mid-L said, "This is the first time I've disobeyed my father. Director Dung, prove that I'm not wrong." Ozawa was now very annoyed because his Chan Corporation subordinates had not yet been able to handle Yonggi Chul. At this time, Department Head Go led the Gangnam gang to this place. When he went inside, Junmo grabbed his neck, pushed the leader of the Chan Corporation onto the table, and calmly used a knife to cut the leader's Achilles tendon. Junsu said to Ozawa, "Call Mr. Kanemoto to Korea and apologize to me directly. Otherwise, don't expect to receive any goods." Yui Jiang was still shocked by seeing a different side of her husband. She was angry at Captain Go and went home. Yui Jiang returned home and held a photo of her and her husband, remembering Junmo's simple and kind nature when they first started dating. Then, the female detective burst into tears, while Junmo sat in a daze, recalling happy memories of his wife and him when he proposed to Yui Jiang. Then, Yui Jiang received a message from Yonggi Chul. He comforted her and hoped she could overcome the shock of seeing what had just happened. Yui Jiang continued to listen to her husband's message. Junmo explained that he couldn't control himself. He begged her not to get involved anymore. He would try to end this and return to her. He apologized. Yonggi Chul took Junmo back to his mother's house for dinner. Later, when they were sleeping together in a room, Junmo advised Yonggi Chul to apologize and reconcile with the Japanese side because without them they couldn't sell all the goods. But Gai-chun said, "I considered Kanemoto like my father, but he's about to kill us and Yui Jiang." When Junmo asked Yui Jiang if she was okay after seeing everything, Gai-chun said, "She's on my side." He then trembled. That statement made Gai-chun very sad. The chief prosecutor invited a commissioner from the Gangnam police to dinner and asked him to overlook the fight between the Gangnam gang and the Chan Corporation, so that his people could apprehend the Gangnam gang, along with the Chinese and Japanese sides. At the office, Hee-sung kept saying, "We can't sell all 16 kilograms of goods without the Japanese side's help." But Junmo insisted on waiting for Kanemoto to apologize to him before resuming cooperation. Junmo felt very anxious, so he said, "I'll go to the hotel to negotiate with the two Japanese. We've caused a big commotion. The only way to sell the goods quietly is through the Japanese partners. This is business." At this time, the gangster cop Hwang Min-gu came to knock on the office door. He told Yonggi Chul that according to the call log, the private detective called him last before he died. Yonggi Chul said, "I just asked him to investigate a few things." The policeman presented the lighter he had picked up at the scene, but Yonggi Chul confirmed that it wasn't his. He then went outside and ran into Junmo. The police officer tried to set a trap by throwing the lighter at Junmo and saying, "You dropped this at the police station." But Junmo quickly said, "This isn't mine." The police officer accused Junmo of killing the private detective and taking his phone, but Junmo calmly denied it and chased the gangster cop away. Yonggi Chul went to see Yui Jiang and promised her that when the Free International City Complex was built, he would withdraw from the underworld. Then he could stand before her and her family with his head held high. Yui Jiang took his hand and said, "I believe you." Junmo went to the hotel to beg Ozawa. He bowed deeply to apologize on behalf of his boss. Then, Junmo waited for Obama and his subordinate at the airport. Junmo promised, "We will double the amount of imports from China, and of course, the price per kilogram will remain the same." Mr. Kanemoto personally went to Korea to negotiate with Yonggi Chul. In front of the old man, the boss acted as arrogant and haughty as possible, as he had almost been killed by this boss. Kanemoto demanded double the amount of imported goods at the same price, but Yonggi Chul asked him to apologize first. Then, Yonggi Chul stated his conditions for continuing cooperation. The Japanese old man read the paper, got angry, and turned around to leave. Then, Junmo read the paper and learned that Yonggi Chul had asked for an additional 30% price increase. This made him very angry because he couldn't reconnect with the Japanese side. When he stepped outside, the old man shoved Ozawa and left with his subordinate. Junmo went to the cinema to find Miss Lee, and she said, "Mr. Kanemoto called my father and asked to transact directly without going through the Korean side." Junmo then requested, "Let me be the new transporter in Korea." After that, both Jun Mo and Miss Lee were led into a meeting with the old man Kanemoto by Obama. Jun Mo repeatedly apologized on behalf of his boss, then asked the old man to allow him to become the new transporter and keep the price the same. Miss Lee wanted to help Jun Mo, so she said, "Didn't you say you needed an intermediary on the Korean side so that your political path wouldn't be affected? My father produces the product, but I decide how to deliver it, so there will be no direct transactions." The old man then asked Jun Mo if he wanted to be his son. The subordinate pulled out a knife and placed it on the table. The old man asked Jun Mo to sacrifice a finger to show his sincerity. Then, the subordinate took the knife and prepared to cut off Jun Mo's finger. Blood splattered on Jun Mo's face, but it came from the old man because Osama had previously asked the treacherous subordinate to overthrow the old man, Kanemoto. Then, Ozawa made a few more cuts to send the old man away faster. Osama told Jun Mo that he had discussed this with your director Young, and earlier, he had secretly met with Young Gi-chul to invite cooperation and promised to eliminate the Japanese old man. At this time, Young Gi-chul also entered the place and spoke up, asking Osama to resume business. Then, Young Gi-chul invited Young Mo to have a drink. Young Gi-chul said, "Everything is settled now. The Chon people trust you, and the old man is gone. Now is a good opportunity for you. After this deal is done, I'll wash my hands of it. Then you'll take over for me. I just want to be a normal person and live a peaceful life. Since I saw Yui Jiang again, I've been constantly thinking about what I should do to be worthy of her." Jun Mo said, "She's a police officer," and Young Gi-chul said, "That's exactly why I want to become someone worthy of her. Department head Go is too hot-headed. Hee-sung is too worried. After having a child, you are the most suitable. I believe you'll do well." The next day, Young Gi-chul asked Jun Mo to attend the launch conference for his free international city. Even Detective Yui Jiang went there to attend the seminar. When the conference room was darkened to introduce the Free International City project, police officer Hingo Monman went to sit near Young Gi-chul. He asked Young Gi-chul to turn in the delivery guy Jangi to him. "Are you the one who killed Manager Cho? I know you're a drug distributor. I will definitely catch you." Then, he clapped enthusiastically to encourage Young Gi-chul to go to the podium. He went outside, and his colleague secretly took a picture of Detective Yui Jiang. Jun Mo went outside and called to scold Captain Go. "Why do you let police officer Hwang Min-gu stick his nose everywhere? He just saw Yui Jiang's face. If he catches Young Gi-chul trafficking before we do, then all our efforts investigating will be in vain." The chief prosecutor immediately called the chief of the Gangnam police and complained about police officer Hwang Min-gu. "I want to know his daily activities. Tell him not to be so enthusiastic." Miss Lee went to a meal with Jun Mo, Young Gi-chul, and Yui Jiang. When Young Gi-chul introduced her as Jun Mo's girlfriend, Yui Jiang immediately showed displeasure. Miss Lee kept attacking and boasting, which made Yui Jiang very uncomfortable. Then, Miss Lee took Jun Mo's hand and said, "I like him a lot." In response, Yui Jiang also took Young Gi-chul's hand and looked at him with great affection. Later, Miss Lee invited Jun Mo to have a few drinks with her because she didn't like the atmosphere there very much. Miss Lee took Jun Mo back to her room and tried to kiss him, but Jun Mo dodged and said, "I feel a bit awkward, Miss Lee." Then, she showed her residency card and said, "I'll live in Korea permanently. Do you know why I'm doing this? Because I like you a lot." Jun Mo was quite confused and said, "I think I like you more than I thought from now on." Then they looked at each other affectionately. The next day, Highest Letter 1 EBNG asked Jun Mo, "Did you sleep with Miss Lee? I should have been the one dating her." Then, Highest Letter 1 EBNG started planning to receive goods from China. "We'll go to the port, set sail, and get the goods. Then we'll deliver them to our people. Half of the money we earn will go back to the company, and we'll split the rest." Back in the day, the boss took 40%. And I and Young B took 30%. Now we have 4 people. Young Gi-chul told me and you 30 minutes, and Jun Mo and department head go 20 minutes. I'm willing to give up 10 minutes. After that, Young Gi-chul requested to eliminate police officer Hwang Min-gu because he threatened to arrest me for smuggling. That night, police officer H. Wang Min-gu arrested a man who was dealing with buying illegal substances, and this man was Jun Mo's biological father. Police officer H. Wang Min-gu tried to interrogate him to find out if Yonggi Chul was the head of the drug trafficking ring, but he said he didn't know anything. The chief prosecutor received notification the previous day that police officer H. Wang Bingo had arrested an addict named Park Ji-man. It seems he's trying to get involved in the investigation of my thigh. Department head Go realized that this man was Detective Park Jun Mo's biological father. Then, Captain Go went to meet Jun Mo's biological father. He handed him a wad of money and asked him not to meet police officer H. Wang Min-gu again. Don't tell him anything about Jun Mo and his wife. Then, Captain Go went to see a prostitute he knew to try to find information about the delivery guy Jangi that police officer H. Wang was trying to track down. But she said she only knew Jangi's girlfriend. Captain Go then went to a farm to find Jangi's girlfriend. She was also in hiding because she was secretly making illegal substances at the farm. Captain Go asked her to go to the police station and confess that the man had killed Manager Cho. She agreed and asked Captain Go to arrange for a place for her to give birth before going to the police station to give her statement. Captain Go promised to take her to a social welfare center to give birth properly. After you turn yourself in, you'll be transferred to the prosecution. At that time, I'll find a way to get you out of the prosecutor's office. The girl entered the police station and confessed to police officer H. Wang Min-gu, I'm Jangi's girlfriend. When the police officer suspected why she was there at that exact moment, she took off her coat and said, Jangi was wearing this coat the day Manager Cho died. At that time, Manager Cho beat up Jangi like crazy because Jangi was a gang member in the Gangnam gang. They then shot Manager Cho to death. And the one who did it was department head Go. Jangi told me that. The police officer asked her to be a witness. Then, the gangster cop went to Yonggi Chul's office and handcuffed department head Go for killing Manager Cho. He threatened to arrest Yonggi Chul soon. Hee Sung panicked because department head Go would expose others in the organization. He said to Jun Mo, ask Miss Lee if she can deliver more than 16 kilograms. We don't know what that crazy cop will do. While we still can, we have to make a big deal. Yui Jiang and Jun Mo told Department Head Go. Department Head Go definitely won't expose others in the organization. That police officer H. Wang Min-gu just gave up on the investigation after realizing he was wasting his time. Yonggi Chul's group was very worried because they were surrounded by police, so they decided to import a lot of goods to make a huge profit and then run. This is our last chance. Department head Go tried to convince Jun Mo not to go too far, or he wouldn't be able to go back to being a police officer. One police officer told department head Go, I'm an acquaintance of Director Yung. He asked you to use your right to remain silent. Only we were there when Manager Cho was shot, so the police are fabricating evidence. You can just put it all in the closet. The gangster cop kept asking department head Go, did you kill Manager Cho? But department head Go just kept mumbling about his right to remain silent, making H. Wang Min-gu very angry. He asked to bring Jangi's girlfriend for a confrontation, but his colleague told him she was transferred to the prosecution for investigation for illegal drug production. Hearing this, the police officer became even angrier. Jun Mo went to see Miss Lee to ask her to increase the amount of imported goods in the next transaction. When Miss Lee expressed doubt, Jun Mo took her hand to show his affection, and Miss Lee agreed to increase the supply to 30 kilograms. That's the goods my father has been holding. I promise I'll give them all to you. The chief prosecutor informed all the police to get ready to take down a gang in an investigation that could make history. Jun Mo was now driving Yonggi Chul, and H. Letter 1 EBNG was driving another car to a port to receive goods. Jun Mo and Yonggi Chul went to the port, while H. Letter 1 EBNG watched outside. Then, the boat carrying the two men set sail. But at this time, at the office, Yongbi entered Yonggi Chul's office and sat down in the chair that Yonggi Chul usually sat in. Jun Mo and Yonggi Chul went out to sea and remembered 2 days ago when Yonggi Chul had taken Yui Jiang to a luxurious villa and said, "This will be our house when this deal goes smoothly. We'll start a new life here with Yui Jiang." At that time, Yui Jiang also asked Jung Gi-chul to reconsider the final agreement. Later, Yui Jiang went to see her husband and requested, "Stop this investigation." Jun Mo looked at the necklace around Yui Jiang's neck and asked, "Is it because of Jung Gi-chul?" Jun Mo and Jung Gi-chul rowed the boat to meet a Chinese cargo ship. After receiving all the goods, they turned the boat towards shore and arranged the goods into bags. After the boat docked, they loaded the goods onto a car. Jun Mo asked to go to the bathroom for a bit, then wrote down the port where Jung Gi-chul would be going on a burlap sack and left it in the toilet. Jun went outside and drove away, while Hee-sung followed in his car. A police officer went into the toilet and took the burlap sack that Jun Mo had left. Then, many police officers and Captain Go were already waiting in ambush at the port, ready to arrest them all when they loaded the goods onto the Japanese ship. While sitting in the car, Jung Gi-chul said to Jun Mo, "Sometimes I see myself in you. You pursue your goals with determination and perseverance. That's why I decided to hand this business over to you. It won't be easy, but good luck. But if it gets too dangerous, you have to stop right away." Suddenly, a dump truck came towards them and crashed into the car Jun Mo was driving, sending the car into the roadside ditch. A man stepped out of the dump truck, and it turned out to be the blonde who had betrayed the Gangnam gang earlier. He saw Jun Mo and Jung Gi-chul unconscious and immediately confiscated all the goods. Jung Gi-chul then woke up and tried to wake Jun Mo. The car exploded. Captain Go received a notification that Jun Mo's car had exploded near the port. Luckily, Jung Gi-chul managed to pull Jun Mo out before the car exploded. When Jun Mo woke up, Jung Gi-chul informed him, "All the goods are gone." They stopped and drove home. Jung Gi-chul asserted that the blonde bee had done this because he was the only one who knew their route. Captain Go received a notification that the car had exploded, but there was no one inside. He ordered a retreat. Jung Gi-chul returned to the office and announced that Jung Bi and the blonde Okun had betrayed them. Jung Gi-chul provided a list of drug dealers in X and asked his subordinates to find out if they were in contact with Jung Bi. When he checked his belongings, Jung Gi-chul only found a gold watch. Osama called to scold Jung Gi-chul for not receiving any goods. "I'm giving you a week to get those goods back." At this time, the gangster cop Hwang Min-gu went to the police station in the countryside, where Jun Mo had worked, because he wanted to investigate the background of Detective Yui Jiang's husband. But the police officer there informed him that he was on sick leave. Now, Jun Mo also went to apologize to Miss Lee for making the deal fail. However, Miss Lee wasn't angry and believed that Jun Mo would find a way to fix everything. Jun Mo said to Miss Lee, "Your father in China will be furious. I might get you into trouble." Miss Lee said, "I'm doing this because I want to, so don't feel guilty. I like breathing the air here. Back in China, I went to the park every morning for fresh air because my house was near the Zong Park in Changchun City." Jun Mo grabbed onto this information. At this time, her father in China called his subordinate in Korea and learned that his daughter was blinded by love, making him very angry. Jun Mo put Miss Lee in the car and then turned back to her, saying, "Would you like to go back to China for a while? Things aren't very stable in Korea." But Miss Lee said, "When everything is settled, we'll go together." Jun Mo called Captain Go and stammered, "I know where the Chinese base is." At this time, the police in China also received a notification from the Korean police about a gang of Korean Chinese drug manufacturers located in Changchun. The leader's daughter, Miss Lee, was in Korea. They decided to investigate Yui Jiang's production base and wait for a signal from Korea and Japan to make the arrest. Yang Di drove to the police station to pick up Department Head Go, who was released on bail. In the car, Yang Di told Department Head Go, "The boss asked me to investigate the backgrounds of Yui Jiang's family." Department Head Go immediately ordered him to return to the Gangnam police station. He went to see Yui Jiang to inform her that Jun Mo was safe. Yui Jiang asked, "Then why did police officer Hwang Min-gu come to Jun Mo's police station to investigate yesterday?" Captain Go went to the Gangnam police station to find police officer Hwang Min-gu and introduced himself as police officer Park Jun Mo, the one he had investigated yesterday. Yang Di, sitting in the car, realized he had met Captain Go somewhere before. Police Officer H. Wang Minggu said to Captain Go, "Your wife is cheating on you and you don't know. The man in the picture is Yonggi Chul, and the woman sitting beside him is your wife." Captain Go said, "That's right, but why don't you stop sticking your nose into other people's family business? I don't understand how you became a detective." When Captain Go stepped outside, Yongdi also remembered that he had met Captain Park when he went to the Retired Police Association to investigate the family background of the female detective that his boss had requested. Jun Mo then reported to Yonggi Chul, "I went to see Miss Lee because we lost all the goods, so they haven't received the money yet. Their situation doesn't look good." Yonggi Chul said, "We lost all the money. The day we went to get the goods, Yongbi went to the office and took everything." Jun Mo was furious when he heard this and asked, "Does Yongbi have any relatives or family? We have to search everywhere to find Yongbi." But Kai Chun asked Jun Mo not to go too far. Jun Mo stepped outside and received a call from his wife, asking him to meet the clerk at the Retired Police Association. When he stepped out, Yongdi stopped him and asked her to meet his detective team leader to ask a few questions. The clerk trusted him and got into the car to meet Department Head Go. Department Head Go asked the clerk, "What did Police Officer Park Jun Mo ask you to do?" Because he held a knife to her neck, she confessed, "He said he was a narcotics detective and asked me to exchange documents." Jun Mo went to see his wife and Captain Go, demanding that Captain Go find Yongbi at all costs. "We don't have time." Jun Mo was losing his composure and told his wife not to get involved anymore, not to appear and distract him. Captain Go asked, "Why have you changed so much?" Jun Mo replied, "Oh my God, who put me in this position? Who dragged me and Yui Jiang into this crazy investigation? Who made me go crazy and caused someone to die? Isn't it you and Chief Prosecutor Go?" Jun Mo then returned to the office. At this moment, Captain Go received a call from the clerk informing him that Yang Di had come again and asked her to show him some other confidential documents. He told her he would be there soon, while Department Head Go was controlling the clerk. Jun Mo drove to Youngbi's father's house to search for his whereabouts. Then, he received a call from Department Head Go asking him to go to the Retired Police Association to assist him. Jun Mo felt very uneasy and immediately drove there. Yui Jiang met Yonggi Chul and gently tried to dissuade him from continuing his dangerous work. But Yonggi Chul said, "I haven't achieved my dream yet, I'm almost there. It would be a shame to give up now. Don't worry about me." At this moment, G.H. Chu received a notification from his subordinate that they had captured Yongbi. "Come back to the office right away." Department Head Go walked into the dark room and couldn't find the clerk. When he turned around, he found that the door had been locked from the inside and Yongdi had chained it shut. Department Head Go stepped out and asked, "Are you the husband of Detective Yui Jiang?" Then he pulled out a knife and attacked Captain Go. Yonggi Chul stepped into his office and found all his subordinates gathered there. Then he saw Yongbi sitting comfortably on the chair, reading his free international city project, along with the blonde sitting there confidently. Jun Mo ran over, and Yongdi said, "I found the cop who has been tailing us for a while. It's the husband of the boss's girlfriend." Jun Mo shouted to Yongdi, "Open the door and hide far away because the bastard inside is a police officer." Jun Mo went inside and saw Captain Go tied up and badly injured. Department Head Go stepped out and gave Jun Mo the personnel file with Captain Go's picture and said, "He's the husband of the boss's girlfriend. I think Yui Jiang and her husband have planned to take down our whole organization. But I also found this name tag. He's also the team leader of the drug crime investigation team. Why is he pretending to be Park Jun Mo? Do you know something? I'll use his gun to finish him off." Jun Mo immediately stopped Department Head Go. "You can't kill a police officer." The department head looked suspicious and asked Jun Mo to grab the knife and kill the police officer. "I have a feeling that someone in our gang has colluded with the police." Department Head Go pointed a gun at Jun Mo and shouted, "Stab him, you bastard! What's the deal between you two?" When Jun Mo explained, "I have nothing to do with him," the department head shot Captain Go. Jun Mo rushed forward and struggled with Department Head Go. Then, 3 of Captain Go's police colleagues ran up and arrested Department Head Go, taking him away. Junmo checked Captain Go's condition. Captain Go tried to remind Junmo, "Don't forget you're a police officer." Then, they carried Captain Go to the ambulance. At the office, Young-gi Chul immediately pulled out his gun and pointed it at Young-bi's head. Young-bi said, "So, you're going to start over as a clean businessman. Do you remember the names of all the gang members?" Then, Dung Bear started naming each gang member and promised to take care of Yui Jiang from now on. He asked Young-gi Chul to shoot him. Hee-sung then stepped forward and said, "It's over." Gai-chun's eyes welled up with tears as he said, "If it wasn't for me, would you have gone this far?" Hee-sung yelled. "We all risked our lives to build everything. You selfish bastard, stop right there." At that moment, police officer Hwang Min-gu walked in, clapping his hands arrogantly, then announced that Young-gi Chul was under arrest for illegal possession of weapons. Previously, Young-bi, Hee-sung, and the blonde had secretly met with the police officer and showed him the 60 kilograms of goods they had stolen from Young-gi Chul. Yui Jiang asked the police officer to handle Young-gi Chul. "Lock him up. We'll gather evidence for you. From now on, we'll take good care of you. I hope you will protect and support us. After this, we'll give you a big building like the Gangnam police station." The police officer handcuffed Young-gi Chul and took him away. As he went down, Gi Chul saw Yui Jiang standing below. When he got into the police car, Gai-chun looked back in the same way he had looked at Yui Jiang when his whole family was taken away by the police. Yui Jiang chased after him and called the chief prosecutor to inform him of the situation. The prosecutor told Junmo that Hwang was taking Young-gi Chul to the station. It seems the members of the Gangnam gang had betrayed him. Junmo angrily said, "If he's arrested, our investigation will be over." Junmo then followed police officer Hwang Min-gu in his car. The car carrying Young-gi Chul reached a crossroads and was violently hit by Junmo's car, causing the police car to overturn. Junmo rushed to help Young-gi Chul into his car and drove away. The chief prosecutor waited outside the operating room while the doctor came out and shook his head. The next day, Junmo called to check on Captain Go. The chief prosecutor told him he was recovering, so he shouldn't worry. At this time, Young-gi Chul stepped out, and Junmo hung up. Gai-chun told Junmo, "3 of my subordinates have collaborated with police officer Hwang to betray me." When Junmo asked if Yui Jiang knew who the Japanese business partner was, Gai-chun said, "Only I know." The chief prosecutor told all his subordinates, "We will put as much pressure as possible on the Gangnam gang. Make sure that Captain Go's sacrifice was not in vain." Then, the police arrested key customers of the Gangnam gang. Dung-bi was informed by 2 close associates. "The people who were supposed to buy our goods have suddenly disappeared. Now we have no more customers." The chief prosecutor informed Junmo, "We've eliminated Young-bi's important customers. Now he only has 1 remaining customer, the Japanese side. Don't let them succeed in the transaction. Both Japan and China are ready to arrest them." When Junmo asked about Captain Go, the prosecutor said, "He's getting better." Young-gi Chul rushed outside and said he wanted to go get back his goods, but Junmo stopped him and said, "The police are looking for you." Then, they sat down to drink together. Junmo asked, "You told me to stop if it got too difficult. Why didn't you stop?" Gai-chun said, "Because I want a normal life. If I could turn back time, I just want a normal life. Have you ever thought like this?" Junmo looked thoughtful and said, "I've gone too far, so I don't know if I can live a normal life anymore." The subordinate police officer reported to Hwang Min-gu, "I've been searching for Young-gi Chul, but I can't find Kwon Sung-ho. I've entered his name into the police's internal network, but I can't find anything. It seems it's been deleted." The gangster cop realized something was wrong. A member of the Gangnam gang went to see Dong Ho and asked him for money, saying that they had taken 30 kilograms of goods. Dong Ho told him to go see Young-gi Chul to ask for money. The Chinese man picked up a hammer and slammed it on the table. Dong Ho stopped his subordinates from retaliating and started negotiating with him. "Let me see Yui Jiang. Call on the Chinese to cooperate with me, because we've eliminated Young-gi Chul, and we have the police on our side. I hope you will connect us to the Japanese so we can sell the goods. Then we can buy from you." The chief prosecutor went to visit Captain Go's funeral and asked Detective Yui Jiang not to tell Jun Mo because he was already very tired. Later, when she returned home, Yui Jiang received a call from Young Gi-chul. Yui Jiang asked about the current situation of Gai Chun and Sung Ho. Young Gi-chul said both of them were safe and that he would return to her after everything was settled. "Don't worry," he said. Police officer Hwang Min-gu went to see the Gangnam gang to inquire about Sung Ho's background. There, he learned that Sung Ho knew Detective Yui Jiang and was accepted into the gang. Young Bi said, "I know how to catch Gai Chun and Sung Ho. Just follow Detective Yui Jiang and the Chinese girl, Miss Lee, and you'll catch Young Gi-chul and Sung Ho. They're two couples." The police officer received a large bag of money and praised Young Bi. "You're unusually clever sometimes." Young Bi and Hee Sung went to see Miss Lee and asked her to help connect with the Japanese side because they still didn't know where to sell the 30 kilograms of goods. Yui Jiang promised to pay them in full after receiving the money from the Japanese side, and Miss Lee agreed to connect Yui Jiang with the Japanese side. Miss Lee then wrote down the location where she would deliver the goods to the Japanese partner. Then, getting into the car, she called Jun Mo and informed him, "I did as you asked. Tomorrow, the transaction will take place at the port." Jun Mo also called the chief prosecutor, saying that Deng Bi would deliver goods to the Japanese at the port tomorrow. Young Gi-chul was trying to get the money that Young Bi would receive, but he couldn't get in touch with Captain Go. The prosecutor said he took a leave of absence, so he turned off his phone. "We must succeed in this transaction," he said. "I'll contact the Japanese side and get ready to arrest Yui Jiang." The police officer close to Hwang Min-gu attended Captain Go's funeral. He was very surprised to learn that Captain Go's wife was someone else, not Detective Yui Jiang. Moreover, the man wasn't Park Jun-mo. Miss Lee returned to her hotel room, and police officer Hwang Min-gu came looking for her. He received a call from his close subordinate, who excitedly ran to inform him, "I've got a big scoop, boss." Hwang Min-gu knocked on Miss Lee's door. She was going to refuse to open it, but he said he had something to tell her about Kwon Sung Ho. The police officer showed her Detective Yui Jiang's profile and her husband's profile, named Jun Mo, but this wasn't the real Jun Mo. Then, he showed a picture of Yui Jiang's real husband and wife, and the husband was Kwon Sung Ho, whom she knew. "He's a high-ranking police officer," he said. "You've been tricked. Just tell me where he is, and I'll handcuff him right away for what he's done during the investigation. It's enough to put him in jail for life." Miss Lee was very hesitant and unsure what to do. But she decided to call Jun Mo and ask, "Have you been good to me all this time? Was it genuine?" Jun Mo felt very guilty when he heard this. Miss Lee said, "My father told me to go back to China." Yui Jiang asked, "Do you think I should go back?" Jun Mo said, "Don't stay in Korea or go back to China. It's best if you stay in Hong Kong until everything is over." Meanwhile, police officer Hwang Min-gu was devouring beef outside when Miss Lee came out, put her arm around him, and picked up a carving knife. Her subordinate entered the room and saw police officer Hwang Min-gu gasping for air. Miss Lee said, "I'm trying to protect someone." The subordinate saw the police officer outside, pulled Miss Lee into the room and said, "Don't you know the police always work in pairs? I'll lure him in. Go before Yui Jiang calls for backup. Don't go back to China, you'll be severely punished. You have to survive. Go with the man you trust." He stepped out, opened the door, shoved the police officer to the ground, and ran out. Miss Lee quickly grabbed her suitcase and left the hotel. Young Bi and two of his close associates went to the port to deliver goods to the Japanese partner. A Japanese man took the goods and tossed back a bag of money. He took the goods to the boat to ship to Japan for Mr. Osama. In the car, Jun Mo said to Young Gi-chul, "I think you should stay here." Then, he pulled out a gun, pointed it at Gai Chun, tied his hands to the steering wheel, and said, "You said you wanted to live a normal life, right? You don't have a chance anymore. I hope you pay for what you've done. Stop here, okay?" Jun Mo stepped out and said to the three members of the Gangnam gang, "It's all over." Yui Jiang was about to pull out her knife and attack, but many police cars arrived. Jun Mo also fired a shot into the air to subdue Yui Jiang. Then, the three were arrested by the police. In the car, Young Ji-chul saw a key in the back seat. The police raided the Gangnam gang's business establishments and arrested all the gangsters there. Young Ji-chul drove away with a face full of resentment. In Japan, the man who received the goods from Korea arrived and handed them over to a man sitting by the river fishing. The fisherman took the received goods to the villa to deliver them to Osama. At this time, the chief of police appeared, and many police officers rushed to subdue Osama's people. In China, the police were also preparing to raid the production base of the notorious drug-making gang. Many police officers began to raid the production facility to arrest everyone there. The chief prosecutor informed the press that they had cracked an international drug trafficking case and successfully arrested Professor Jun, who had been sent to China by the Gangnam gang to participate in production with the organization there. Miss Lee heard this news and was furious, shedding a stream of tears. Jun Mo and his wife went to bow before Captain Go's remains. Then, as they were sitting in the car to leave, Yui Jiang asked her husband, "Do you think we can return to the way we were before?" The couple walked into their house and found Young Gi-chul sitting looking at a picture of them. Young Gi-chul pulled out a gun. Jun Mo also raised his gun and demanded, "Put the gun down." Deng Gai-chun said, "To protect the two of you, I abandoned all my comrades. I have one question for you. Why did you spare me? And Yui Jiang, did you ever truly care for me? Did you use me to investigate?" Yui Jiang's eyes welled up with tears as she said, "Young Gi-chul, don't get any deeper into sin. I was wrong to use you, and we'll all have to pay for what we've done. If not now, then after we die." Young Gi-chul then said, "You too will pay. The rest of your lives will not be happy." He tried to kill himself but was shot by Jun Mo. Young Gi-chul opened his eyes, looked at Yui Jiang one last time, and then fainted. Jun Mo coldly called the police. The next day, Jun Mo attended Captain Go's wife's promotion ceremony to accept the commendation on behalf of his husband. Jun Mo and his wife both received commendations and promotions. Jun Mo refused to shake hands with the chief prosecutor, then attended a memorial service for a police officer before Captain Go's portrait. He went to the cemetery to visit Young Gi-chul's grave, placed a ring on it, and offered him a cigarette. Then he walked away, trying to regain the normal life he once had.